Islands are weird. Isolated from the continents and their ecosystems, they are home to very distinctive biotic communities, and sometimes unique species only found on that single island or group of islands. What are known as endemic species. Some islands are very remote, like the Hawaiian archipelago, where a handful of bird groups that arrived millions of years ago have diversified into a host of endemic species. Other islands are very close to a continent, but still something is definitely different, like Isla de Caño off of the biodiversosa peninsula of Costa Rica. Here, unlike the nearby mainland, only a single species of frog calls from the foliage, and superabundant basilisk lizards run over the jungle trails, surrounded only by a fraction of the trees found across the azure waters. These patterns of island ecology can be explained with the theory of island biogeography. This theory is one of the most important concepts to understand in conservation biology and ecology today. The basics of the theory of island biogeography are very simple to understand. Species diversity is driven by island size and island distance from the mainland, which results in varying immigration and extinction rates. Think of it like this. Imagine 3 islands of the same size but different distances from the mainland. If you imagine that species are being tossed at these islands like balls in a carnival game, you can see that it is much easier to get a species on an island near the mainland. This is the distance effect. Now imagine another 3 islands, the same distance from the mainland, but 3 different sizes. Now, if species are tossed at these islands, it is harder to get a species to land on a small island than a large island. This is called the target effect. With this knowledge, we can say islands close to the mainland and larger will get more species than far small islands. Of course, there are other factors that contribute, but these are the 2 most important factors in how islands are colonized. Islands, though, cannot just continue to acquire species indefinitely. Islands have a limit to how many species can be supported by their land area. This limit is the extinction rate, which balances how many species can exist on an island. Size of the island again matters, as larger islands have larger habitats that reduce the probability of a local population's extinction due to an event, like part of the island being damaged in a storm. Larger islands can also have more diversity of habitat, which is often just as important or more so than straight-up size for species richness and reducing the probability of local extinction. There is another special modifier to the theory called the rescue effect that will be important in a few minutes. This effect says islands closer to the mainland have populations that are less likely to go extinct because they can be rescued by immigrants from the mainland. E.O. Wilson, who along with Robert MacArthur coined the term island biogeography in the 60s, experimentally tested this theory in the Florida Keys in one of the coolest ecology experiments ever attempted. Wilson and his students surveyed many small mangrove islets of all roughly the same size and determined species richness, how many species were present on the islet. They then built a structure over the islets to hang a plastic sheet, and fumigated the islets with methyl bromide, wiping the entire arthropod community out. From here they monitored the islands over time. Islands closer to the mainland recovered to similar species diversity prior to the fumigation, faster than those further away. What is so valuable about the theory of island biogeography is it can be applied beyond just islands and bodies of water. Mountains with desert between them function as islands, and water fragments of forest after deforestation are protected areas, but islands in a sea of human disturbance. And so island biogeography can be applied to reserve design. Larger protected areas are better at retaining species. A famous study showed that in all but the largest U.S. national parks, some of the large mammals have disappeared, the area unable to support them. Size really matters in conservation. Building parks near each other also lets the rescue effect kick in, which can be made stronger through the creation of wildlife corridors. Wildlife corridors work as thin paths wildlife can use to move in between larger core range areas, effectively joining the 2 populations into a single larger and healthier population. Island biogeography is one of the most important theories for today's ecologists and conservation biologists to understand, and I hope I did a good job of explaining it. I would like to hear how well you think I did down in the comments section below, and your thoughts on what this means for wildlife reserves in the future. This video is part of an ongoing Fundamentals of Conservation Biology series with a new episode coming out each and every month. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Also, see if your cursor or finger can make it to the subscribe button island to try and colonize this channel. And don't forget to ring the bell so you can be notified when the next video in this series comes out. Thank you for watching, I really appreciate it. Bye.